always kind of nervous to tell people I have a blog. I don't know why. My name is Tonya. I'm 22 years old and I'm a fashion blogger, and I created the Mop Top.
My name is Michelle Lopez. I'm the blogger behind Hummingbird Hive, which is a baking and desserts blog. And I've been blogging for since 2011, which I guess it's been 3 years since I started blogging.
I started my blog in December of 2011 after seeing Free People's website, and I saw their blog, and I fell in love with their stuff and what they're doing, and just seeing all the creative people, I wanted to be a part of it.
I started blogging because at the time I was working a really terrible job that I hated, and I felt like I didn't really have a creative outlet. I remember when I was little, my mom and I would bake together for special occasions, but when I went off to college, it was never something I did for myself, and then I was like, why not? That's kind of silly. So then I just started doing it and loved it so much.
At the beginning, it could get discouraging that, you know, I feel like all these other bloggers are so amazing and they have all these readers and stuff, but you just have to keep going and keep pushing through it. I feel like I used to get made fun of too. I remember a couple people would make fun of me. I love when people tell me that they read my blog. It's like the best feeling in the world, because I don't know, it's crazy to think about that there's other people that are or people that are inspired by me and looking up to me. It's a very crazy feeling.
I get a lot of perks for being a food blogger. So sometimes restaurants will come, if they need some publicity, they'll invite me and a bunch of other local bloggers, and they're like, hey, come have this like really awesome and nice free meal for us, right? And they never really ask, but you know, it's kind of like a trade thing. Like I'll always just like Instagram like this awesome thing I got from them.
I definitely think it's a lot more pressure on yourself. You create your own deadlines. I feel like when I am my own boss, I kind of put too much on my plate and think that I can get everything done, but sometimes it's like really stressful, and it's kind of hard to pick and choose things and just see what I can handle rather than just taking it all on.
You can kind of spend a lot of time doing it. Like sometimes I feel like I either like something, you know, I won't see my friends for like 2 weeks because I'll be like, oh shoot, I've just been working on my blog like for the last 2 weeks, like furiously. I haven't seen anybody, you know. So it can be hard to like kind of set a schedule that or to balance everything really.
I have this like expectation on myself to create like new stuff all the time and be constantly creative, but I don't know, at the same time it's kind of nice to kind of push myself and see what I can come up with. I can be as creative as I want and do exactly what I want and feel what I want to produce, rather than having someone that is telling me what to do.
Sometimes I've worked with magazines and stuff, and they're like, oh, can you develop a recipe for us, or can you take pictures for us? And they want pictures a certain way, or they want like to use specific ingredients and stuff. And that can be a little bit hard because, you know, like then it sucks to like go out and try to figure out around somebody else's guidelines, and just doing it my way, I'm like, oh, it'll be better if it's like this. It's really cool to be able to just do whatever I want.
When I first moved to Portland and I started working at Urban Outfitters, and I didn't know anybody in Portland at all, it was like a whole new city. And I had a couple people come up to me in Portland and say, hey, aren't you a blogger? And that was like really weird to me, because it's like I'm in a new city and there's actually people here that read my blog. And that was really cool. I've met a couple people that have come up to me and say that they have a blog or started a blog, and that's like my favorite thing in the world.
This last year, so I got this email from this girl who'd been reading my blog since like 2011, which I thought was weird because again, when I started back in 2011, it was mostly for like friends and family, but I guess she found my blog some way. And she was like, oh my god, I'm coming to Portland, and you know, I'm like such a big fangirl of yours. And I was like, what? I have fans? Like, that's crazy. So that was what? Because I feel like I'm a pretty normal person, and having like knowing like people are out there like being like, and you know, she like after we met and had coffee, she was really nice. We met like Newbury downtown. She like posted a picture of me and her on her Instagram, and all these people liked it, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe you got to meet Michelle. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? This it's not like I'm like Jennifer Lawrence or something. Like this is not that big of a deal. I'm just a person in Portland.
It's kind of hard to keep my private life private because I think for bloggers, I don't know, the public kind of wants to know and they want to get in like an insight on your life, so it is kind of, you have to like find the balance of what's too much and what do I want to tell people.
Sometimes my videos just don't turn out, or my house is like can be a mess, and like I feel like the pressure to have like everything look nice and perfect all the time, and I'll like end up setting things up for my Instagram feed where it'll look really great in that frame that I'm like shooting, but everything else outside of it is a mess. But then I'm like, oh, that's okay. Everybody will think it's like I live this perfect life when I don't really.
I feel like I have gained confidence, but at the same time I kind of have this like a little bit of self-doubt at the same time sometimes, that it's like I said, it's a lot of pressure to always come up with new ideas and not to try and like imitate other bloggers. And so I mean, it's definitely, I feel a lot more confident about what I put out now than I did at the beginning stages of my blog, but it's still at the same time really nerve-wracking and kind of scary to always have to one-up my last stuff. So
it does take a certain amount of confidence to put yourself out there every day consistently on your blog. And whenever I get like negative feedback or anything, I like, so sometimes people will like comment on my blog, for instance, that like, oh, they tried this recipe and it wasn't that good, or they did this, and I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry to hear it. Like now I respond and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, like, what do you think went wrong? I feel like my blog has kind of taught me to like, you know, if you start that conversation and ask like, oh, why do you feel that way? Then the other person will respond, like, they're usually kind of nice about it, because they're kind of like, they'll be like, oh god, there's actually a real person out there. And I've started doing that more in real life. Again, food blogging I think has less criticism than lifestyle and fashion blogging. So I feel like I'm pretty protected from a lot of the criticism. Food bloggers tend to be really nice, and the people who like read your blog also tend to be really nice. So I think I'm really lucky.
my style has changed from when I first started blogging, and that's kind of something that I'm struggling with right now. That, I mean, I started my blog, I think I was either 17 or 18, so now I'm 22. I've changed a lot in the last 4 years, so it's kind of hard to still like relate with my people that first started reading my blog and say like, you know, now it's still me, but I'm a new person.
A lot of blogging is putting yourself out there on the internet, and I think girls tend to do that more than guys. Like, we're more open with each other, right? I do think there is a stronger network for girls out there than there is for guys, and that's also part of it.
I feel like a lot of older generations, they don't really understand the whole social media thing and the internet world, but I think people that are into blogging, once they actually see what I do, they take me a little more seriously, and that I kind of like that.
Blogging is definitely it looks like it's going to be like a legitimate career within the next 5 to 10 years. I've seen some people online, you can really tell they're making like a lot of money from their blogs, and I think we're still at like kind of the tipping point where if you talk to somebody older and you say that you blog or you're a blogger, they're like, oh, what's that? But definitely all the younger people I know are like, oh, cool, you know, and they totally accept it as a like full-time career, and I think it will be, and I think companies are starting to take advantage of that too. You know, I've definitely worked with some brands that I feel like are like reach out to me because of my audience that I have, and I think brands are starting to recognize that these bloggers out there have a lot of reach to all these people elsewhere. And so I think that's going to be a form of marketing advertising that's going to become more prominent.
I definitely see the fashion and blogging industry growing more. I feel like people are kind of liking bloggers because they can relate to them, and rather than just seeing like a model that looks like every other girl, you know. That's what I think people like, that bloggers are real and they're real people. Blogging has, I don't know, kind of shown me what I want to do. I feel like I definitely want to have a creative career. When I was younger, I never really thought I was going to be in the fashion world. because I was kind of always a tomboy, and I just didn't really think that I was going to be like the fashion girl.
Vlogging full-time is a dream of mine, but I know, you know, like I have a mortgage on this house. It's not going to happen for a long time. Or writing a cookbook. I've had to turn down a couple cookbook deals because I'm like, I can't write a cookbook and like have my vlog at the same time. Maybe one day when things, you know, with student loans will be paid off and everything. But yeah, I would love to work somewhere where I can actually use some of the skills that I've learned through vlogging. Like, you know, I think I take pretty okay photographs. And like being able to use that in a like full-time job would be great. And like, yeah, writing more, that would be cool too.
I would love to be a professional blogger and do that for a career for the rest of my life, but we'll see.